Hello, my name's Thurman. This is Blatantly Honest. I want to thank all those who chose to watch my first video of what is now going to be referred to as Blatantly Honest. And for those who not only watched, but those who subscribed and those who liked, I'm just humbled and honored that you've chosen to watch my video at all. And more importantly, just really humbled if you chosen. First of all, I appreciate the fact that you liked it. And secondly, I'm really humbled if you've chosen to tune back in and make sure that you get a notice that another one has been posted the moment you chose to subscribe. And that's just humbling. I'm not going to lie. Maybe that know me know that my uh, email account um, acknowledges that I need to work on humility. So I'm honestly, like I said, truly honored. And I guess that's where I want to focus for this video. I briefly touched on honor and when honor should be given. And the first video, I guess you would call that your pilot if this were television and it were a series. And since I consider these episodes, we'll call it the pilot. Anyways, it seemed like a good point that I just couldn't get out of my head that we need. I really think that we don't really slow down and think about what honor is and when it should be given, when it's deserved. I certainly don't want to use anything out of context, but Romans 13 speaks of those in power within a government. They're there because God allows them to be there, and that because of that reason, they deserve a certain amount of honor. In that case, is respecting the government and its authority. But what really made me stop and focus on my comments that I had made in the previous video was about how my dad was receiving all these honors and accolades that he deserves. There's no doubt. But they're not being given to him because he's not here. They're being given in honor of what he accomplished. Yes, I get that. But he's not getting to enjoy it. It's being honored. It's an honor being given basically in the memory of the legend of the man. That the only people that really benefited from it are those that are left behind. And the reason I can't seem to get that out of my mind is because my dad and I used to speak a lot about men who have yet to receive honor in their lifetime that they deserved. And some of them, unfortunately, have already passed. Two men we used to speak about, all these that I'm going to give examples of, played professional football in the NFL, but one of them was Pat Fisher, a man who was maybe 5'9", and probably weighed about 180 pounds soaking wet if he was lucky, who, went up against men that were over a foot taller than him, like Carmichael from the Eagles, that just got inducted this last year. He was 6'9", or right at it. That being said, how he had a lengthy career, was Pro Bowler, and all these things. I learned how to form tackle watching this guy on tape. Or perhaps Jim Marshall, who at the time he retired was the Iron Man of his sport, yet he was the only Iron Man of any given professional sport that wasn't in his Hall of Fame after his first year of eligibility. So another example would be Mad Dog Mike Curtis. Those are two men that are still living. The other two, Pat Fisher and Jim Marshall, who are like 84. Jim Marshall is 84 years of age, and Pat Fisher's 82. When are these honors going to be given to them? Are they going to get to enjoy them at all? Are we going to keep neglecting the fact of all they did and what they accomplished? Again, another example would have been Mad Dog Mike Curtis, who passed in 2020. Never ever going to get to enjoy that honor. If they give the honor at this point in time, it's merely because they're trying to, I guess, acknowledge the family. Or to be honest, I start to wonder when people give honors to individuals posthumously. Let's just say, I can't pronounce that the best, in a posthumous manner. I feel they're doing that somewhat for their own conscience. And the reason I thought about that some more is my dad used to actually have conversations with me about those other men I mentioned, but the one he spoke about the most was Ken Snake Stabler. He was a big Kenny Stabler fan. And he used to carry on about the fact that he hadn't already been inducted in the Hall of Fame, and after he passed in 2015, and they chose to vote him in for the 2016 class, he and I spoke about that truth, how it was almost in a way too little too late. You see, there's several definitions of honor. We all know that, honors like we're talking about, they're being bestowed upon my dad. But I want to focus on what I stated before. If you really want to honor somebody after they're dead in a posthumous manner, awards don't do really anything. It's how you live your life, practicing the teachings they passed on to you and such. Honor is stated as giving high respect, great esteem. That's one of the definitions. To give credit to them with plaques and such and induction to the Hall of Fame, it's all great. It's all well and good, but my dad was always an individual that focused more on respecting others and expecting, because I'll get into that some other topic about expectations, other people holding expectations for you. But the matter of fact is, if he gave respect, he expected to get it back in return. And yes, he was an honor to his profession. And again, he deserves the acknowledgement. But if that's all there is that we acknowledge him after his death in that fashion, are we really acknowledging who he was? And for that matter, any of you that have lost someone you're close to or you loved or that you admired, if if you merely tell stories, accounts actually, because these things actually occurred about the individual, but don't put into practice any of the teachings that those accounts are meant to be told for, the principles, the teachings that those people live their life by. Does it really matter if every year you get together and acknowledge their life? Or if you set up I say this with a grain of salt, I appreciate the fact that people are setting up scholarships in my father's name. That should be done. But again, and I'm sure the standards are there. They should be. The recipients of those scholarships, more importantly, should reflect the life that my father lived. They should be, even though they may never have personally come in contact with him, from here forward, whoever receives that scholarship should be a representation of his principles, his beliefs. And to that extent, that's what honor was to my dad. It was that second definition of a noun which was adherence to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct. Now, what is perceived as conventional standard nowadays, I will assure you, did not align with what my dad believed is right. I'm not saying not all things, but some things definitely not so. Um, and that's how he approached what he did, coaching, teaching young people. See, he not only treated those young people, showed them the respect that they deserved, and in turn expected the respect back from them, and but he honored them in a way by what he taught them about life. They didn't. I hope, and I know it's to be true. Many because I've spoken to many people since his passing. Young people now are those that are adults that my dad came in contact with their life. I think they understood and understand that for him to come in contact with them should be regarded as an honor unto itself, something that was a rare opportunity. They should bring them pride and pleasure, because I'm going to assure you this. My father looked at his opportunity to teach and coach young people in that fashion, that it was an honor that he had that opportunity to live his life, and that and his family be along based all that he approached as far as family and the service of others, young people in particular. His family, serving young people, especially those in need, were all built on his foundation of his faith. So he understood what honor was about, not just one aspect of it, but all aspects of it. I guess this is what I'm trying to make clear. That again, I'm going to reiterate. To truly honor an individual, if you're going to give them awards and accolades, that's great. Do it while they're living. If they pass before you can do that, I'm not saying don't bestow those upon the memory, the legacy. But realize the only way you can truly honor that individual at that point is by how you live your life based on those things that they taught you. One of my favorite movies is With Honors. And there's a line in there. At the end of the movie, that the character Montgomery Kessler Brendan Fraser reads a note. Brendan Fraser plays the role of Montgomery Kessler, given to him by, or left for him, should I say, by Joe Pesci's character. And to drive home the point, I'd like to really finish it by modifying the quote and interjecting my dad's name into the quote. Steve Golemon, who knew how to use words. Steve Golemon, who was strong and also knew how to love. Steve Golemon, who graduated life with honors and without regret. I beg of you each, whether it be my dad or someone else in your life, if you never met my father, that's how you approach life as far as how you honor others. If you want to place accolades upon them, write poems for them, whatever, please do that while they're living. If they are gone and you just have that desire to still bestow those honors upon them, after their passing, that's fine. But remember, the greatest way you can honor them at that point is to live by the things that they taught you. And one last time, for my father's sake, to put it bluntly, folks, that's the way all men, meaning mankind, should respect one another and how each of us should live our lives. I'm Thurman. This is Blatantly Honest.